Hello everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. Again, my name is Agnes. I'm a Senior Marketing Manager at ESMT Berlin. And today I'm joined by two fantastic recent graduates, Executive MBA graduates of ESMT Berlin, Mariem Naimi and Julia Lamparter. I've prepared a few slides for you to talk about the school, to talk about the Executive MBA program itself. And then I will give the floor to our alumni, to our fresh graduates, and you can also ask them in the Q&A function. So here we go. So today we will focus only on the Executive MBA program at ESMT. However, we have three other MBA programs as well at ESMT Berlin, and three MSc, other master programs. So again, if you need any other information about the other programs, you would be interested to look at the full portfolio, then please visit our website. You can download our brochures and you can get more information also on our YouTube channel and during our live events, live webinars and live open house events on our campus in Berlin. As you can see, next to our MBA and MSc portfolio, we also offer executive education programs, open programs, and customized programs as well. So those could be maybe also interesting for you or for employer. So what is the difference? Why is ESMT Berlin a little bit different than other business schools in Germany, in Europe, and in the big wide world? We certainly are a relatively young school. ESMT Berlin was founded in 2002, but this also means that we have a modern and relevant curricula. What I can also see, and maybe we will touch this point also during the Q&A, that once the director of MBA program sees that there's a need from students, there are needs in certain topics, in certain directions, they will definitely reflect in the curriculum. There are changes in the curriculum from year to year, which is really appreciated by our students. ESMT has a really strong international focus. We offer 4 international study options in the Executive MBA program. 6 of the modules, 6 of the residencies are taking place on our Berlin campus. The cohorts themselves are relatively small, therefore it's a perfect opportunity for you to network with like-minded professionals. And this is also a really international cohort. Sometimes our students are flying in from other continents even. The personal transformation is definitely in the middle of our curriculum. The individual leadership development is a very important part of the Executive MBA curriculum and basically offers you several coaching sessions throughout the 18 months program, so you can really focus on developing your leadership skills. And statistically, ESMT Berlin is also Germany's most international business school. We have a really engaged alumni network all over the world, diverse and world-class faculty. You might have heard that ESMT is also triple accredited, which we are really appreciate and we're very proud of. And ESMT is actually founded by business back in 2002. So as already mentioned, the ESMT Berlin has 4 different types of MBA programs, but today I would like to focus on the Executive MBA only. Every other information and program info you can find on the website. So what is in the core focus of the Executive MBA? Certainly leadership, as already mentioned, innovation, general management, and individual leadership development. The program runs for 18 months, and we have 1 intake per year. It's always October. The residencies are 100% in-person residencies, meaning that basically from Monday till Saturday, you would be either here on campus in Berlin, or you would attend one of the 4 international modules. In average, just that you have a bigger picture of who would join our Executive MBA program. The current class has approximately 14 years of work experience in average. They're around 38 years old. They represent 26 nationalities and 50% of them actually live in Germany. Good news is that scholarships are certainly available for self-funded applicants. However, we see that many of our Executive MBA students receive some sort of support from their employers. This could be also maybe a talking point during our Q&A. So here you have an overview about the 18 months, what happens during these 10 modules. Again, as mentioned, 6 modules are taking place in Berlin. The other 4, the yellowish ones, are international modules. So we would like to discuss this with our fresh graduates during the Q&A. Everything and even more details about the curriculum you will find on the website and in the brochure. So please definitely visit those platforms and download the brochure. What is also interesting to know is that you might actually have the possibility to visit our school's seminars. For a week, you can join a so-called Global Network Week. So ESMT is part of the so-called Global Network of Advanced Management, which is a network of fantastic business schools all around the world, from Yale till IE, Berkeley, UCD, IMD, you name it, University of Lagos, even fantastic business schools. And our students can actually apply to visit these schools, one so-called Global Network Week. So it's not only a learning experience at ESMT, but you can also peek into other schools' curriculum, and you can also network with those professionals from other schools. So this is a fantastic networking opportunity, which is obviously a really important part of an Executive MBA or any MBA program in general. So what are we looking for? We are looking for excellent analytical ability, both quantitative and qualitative, an international outlook and intercultural competence. As mentioned, the cohorts are very diverse, so therefore it is needed. Obviously, this is a very core skill and competence today on the job market for modern leaders. Proven teamwork skills, leadership potential, and willingness to learn from others in this environment. What I can certainly see and hear during conversation with our students that learning is not only taking place in the classroom, but there's lots of learning happening from your peers. It's a fantastic community. People are coming from all kinds of different industries. So sharing of knowledge is actually really like an additional plus on your curriculum. I've heard maybe it was Julia's and Mariam's class even, that some Executive MBA classes, they even prefer to support each other by giving basically short TED Talks about interest, about their interests, their industries, their positions. So there's certainly lots of sharing happening during the 18 months of this program. What you would need to apply, a very classic application contains obviously your CV. For the Executive MBA, we would need at least 7 years of professional work experience. And this should also include minimum 3 years of managerial experience. We would need your transcripts of your undergraduate to first university degree, a completed application form. If you would like to apply for scholarships, then there's always a dedicated essay question to apply to the scholarship. Then 2 professional recommendations. I would appreciate if those recommendations are as concrete as possible, maybe focusing on a situation that you excelled, and to come up with concrete ideas how you solved, how you came up with a solution. Then we would need some sort of test score. ESMT also has an ESMT admission test. It's called Business Admission Test, or BAT. You will find information about this on our website. and we can talk about admissions, obviously, and the test requirements with our graduates during the Q&A. English proficiency test is only needed if you cannot, if you haven't been studying in English or working in English, if you have limited experience with business English in general. The next two very important deadlines, application deadlines, is the 24th of June and the 2nd of September. The 2nd of September is the fourth round and the last round. As mentioned, we have one intake per year, which is always October. So applications submitted after this deadline will be considered only on a space available basis. So I highly encourage you to apply as early as possible, especially if you would like to go for even an ESMT scholarship. So thank you very much for listening to me. If you have any questions about the admission process, then please reach out to my colleagues, admissions@esmt.org. And now I would like to open the floor. I will stop sharing my screen, and then I will invite our fresh graduates to join me.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. Thank you very much for joining us today. So Julia and Mariem, they are fresh graduates, as mentioned, just graduated in the spring this year. So we thought that the whole experience is pretty fresh. Would be good to have a chat with them. So if you would like to ask anything, then please use the Q&A section. I will be monitoring it. Happy to get back to anything that you're interested in. So just to kick in the conversation, how did you find us? How come that you were looking for an executive MBA? Why would actually one look for an EMBA these days? I don't know, Mariem, maybe you would like to start.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Happy to have everyone here. Hi, Julia. We didn't see each other for a while now. Yeah, how did everything started? Actually, as I progressed in my career, I found out that there is a gap between the way I think and the managers around me think. There have been some challenges where I thought, okay, I think it's time that I look at the broader aspect of management, that I get fresh ideas, fresh learnings from outside. And Executive MBA was the right thing actually to do in terms of what I needed. Why ESMT? I had the chance to be part or passively part of my husband's MBA that he did it just a couple of years ago on ESMT. I was impressed at that time from the quality of like the people, the discussions, how people were like very proud to be in ESMT. And to be honest, on top of that is like the best friend they have. ESMT has the best ranking in Germany and one of the best ranking in Europe. So it was an obvious choice, let's say, for me.
Thank you, Julia.
Yeah, so for me, hello everybody. Good to have you with us. And actually, I really feel it. It's been now almost 2 years that I was or we were in exactly the same situation. So many questions, but a bit nervous. How will it be, and will it work out at the end with the test and so on and so forth? So I'm curious for your questions. So actually, my experience and my decision process was kind of similar. I always wanted to do such an MBA after a couple of working years, a bit of experience. So I did exactly also what Mariem was doing, a bit of research. And I actually had the chance during a program that was offered from ESMT to Mercedes, my current company, that I got to know a couple of teachers and also a couple of cases, and I found it so interesting. So my decision at the end was, for me, it's like a hobby. So I really want to go for it and try to apply and be part of this program. So this was my decision process, or my decision phase, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you. How did this conversation with your employer happen? Because this is the question that I receive quite often. How can you convince your employer to support you? Or if you maybe know a few examples in terms of your peers, if they got a special kind of support from their employers, I think that would be interesting to know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a difficult conversation, so any tips are appreciated for sure.
Maybe I'll start this time. So I was prepared perfectly well for that conversation with my former boss, because you rather have the buy-in from your boss, and better boss's boss. At least that's for Mercedes the way. So I was perfectly prepared, and what I prepared was actually the content, what I'd learn, and also how I'll contribute and how I'll implement these learnings also for my current position. And this was quite convincing because, I mean, if you had checked the profile and checked the different like modules, you quickly see that that is so much relevant for almost every position. So it took me only 2 minutes or so that he said 2 years ago, okay, go for it. Makes perfectly sense. So go for it. So actually, I was a bit surprised, frankly speaking. But yeah, it's quite convincing if you just have a look together at the content itself. So that was my way. Handing over to Mariem. Yeah.
Thank you. So I think Julia and I, we are lucky because our companies know ESMT and they know that there is this program, and every year there are X people from, let's say, Mercedes, Siemens Energy that join this program. So usually, even if your boss or your boss know about the program and the university, you need to be prepared, as Julia said. And I agree with her, like two things has to be prepared: what's in for me and what's in for the company. Because if they're gonna support you either with money or with time or all the travels that you do and they consider it as working time, you need after that to do the payback. So preparation for sure, it's everything. And usually also people do like career development plans with their bosses, and it's better to prepare this discussion probably a year before, like to put it on the career development plan, and then to come after a couple of months as I did my research and this is here and here, like what I found out and so on. So get the buy-in before about the idea in general, and then continue. So I was also lucky that my boss and my boss were in for the idea very quickly. So it was not a lot of work.
That's great to hear from both of you. That was such a smooth decision.
Maybe can I add one thing?
Yeah.
So we also had a closer look at the module, at the time schedule, and it's planned in a very intelligent way. So for and I'm speaking now about Germany, sorry, but these modules were during holiday phases. So it was, frankly, for me, not too bad. So it wasn't the impression from my colleagues or boss's boss that I'm always off, because these were actually in those phases where many people are off. First and second, of course, I reduced my vacation during these 1.5 years. But I think this is, I mean, we've been together in Mexico. This was also kind of vacation. So it was perfectly fine. There was there was one phase, one quarter where we had 3 modules in a row. This was quite tough, but I'd somehow prepare everybody. So it was still okay. So it's not like, oh yeah, you're off the whole time. It's not like that for me. And we come to that a bit later. For me, it was possible to combine it without impact on my current position and career. Yeah. Like negative impact. We're coming later probably to the positive impact. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as mentioned, we have 10 modules during the 18 months of the program. So basically, a module with an in-person residency is happening every 2 months. As Julia has mentioned, you will find the dates already for the 2024 intake on our website, so you can plan ahead. And I think, yeah, that will help for the discussion as well with the employer. Since we're at the preparation phase, do you have any tips for applicants? Which test did you go for in the end?
I would start with that one. I started preparing for the GMAT before talking to ESMT. And then, thank God, I talked to ESMT and they told me there is the BAT, the business admission test. So I switched to that one because it looks, and it is much simpler and not easier, but I think simpler from the what you need for the MBA actually. So I used actually what I prepared for the GMAT for that test for the BAT. And it was doable. I mean, I think there is 3 tests that you can do to make yourself. It's helpful to familiarize yourself with the test, with the questions, with the format. And once you do the test, you have to do an interview with one of the professors. I think when we exchanged about who was the interviewer, it was all of them like professors from ESMT. So if you ask me, it was not complicated. Of course, you have to prepare like everything in life. But it was doable. And for the interview, actually, basically, it was a discussion about a case which was in the test, and it was a taste of how our discussions in class were about case studies. So you have to think out of the box. You have to give some of your experience. It's not only what is written in the test, like in the text, you have to say it again. So this is like very quickly about my experience.
Yeah, again, quite similar. I didn't start to prepare for the GMAT because I did my research in advance. So I just prepared for the BAT, and I'd also say it's not easier. Also found out that many questions are exactly the same, GMAT and BAT, but it's a bit shorter and more practical with the cases, for instance, what Mariem was mentioning. And there's not only the pre-test, but also like I don't know, 80 pages document or so with example tasks and example cases. And I went through those, not all of them, but I went through those. So quite soon you have a impression about what's the level and what's the depth and also what's the content. So that's how I prepare, and I'd recommend to also download these 80 pages. I think it costs a few bucks, but it was worth because you are also not nervous any longer because you really know what you can expect. Yeah.
Is there, I think, 2 full sets as an example on the provider's website. So they're even 3 after registration. So feel free to have a look. And if you have any questions around BAT, the admissions team is also happy to help. All right, so you successfully got admitted to the program, enrolled to the program. How did you juggle work, life, school? Because I know this is a big concern coming from our prospects, Executive MBA prospects. And I wonder, like, how much time did you spend with studying between residencies?
Julia, you start.
Okay, I'll start. So I'm wondering whether I shall answer frankly or not. I will. So the deal with my husband was that I won't go for the best student award, which was perfectly fine for me. Under like my normal working week doesn't allow that I study in the evening because quite long days. So and quite late, so that there's no time left for studying. So this means that it was only on the weekend for me, studying on the weekend. And there was one phase after Christmas, I think it was after the second module or so, where we had, I think, 4 exams or so. It was between Christmas and New Year's Eve, and I think week after. So, and this was quite stressful. So I learned, let's say, 5 days, so almost every day. So one holiday was blocked by learning, but that was not normal. That was just that phase. And for the other phases, I started 2 weekends. So I always needed 2 weekends to prepare the module, and 2 weekends for assignments, exams, or anything else that came after the module, and the rest was free. So that's the honest answer. So I cannot really say how many hours per week, but this was my studying mode. Yeah.
So my experience was totally different from Julia. When I started the MBA, I had a small kid of 7 months old. So it was like studying in the weekend was not an option for me because you have the kid at home. So basically what I did is I studied in the evening. It was after bringing the kid to sleep. I had from 8 to 11 p.m. That was my study time. I cannot say it's efficient because you have like the 3 hours in the evening, you're tired from a full working day, family day, and then you need to concentrate on stuff and you don't finish them. So you restart the next day, not from 0, but not from 100. You have like really need like to re-put yourself in the mood of that studying. But one thing that I learned is motivation is not enough. Either you have a discipline, you have a routine, you set boundaries for, at some point for work, family, friends. It is like that. To do that, or it's not gonna work. So discipline is everything in this program. Everyone, it's depending on your life. Like for Julia was no evening. This was her discipline, but on the weekend for me was the other way around. And it's important also to know it's at the end it's a personal decision to decide, do I go to the friends dinner or do the assignment tonight or tomorrow? And it's up to you. Nothing is impossible. It's the level of quality that you want to deliver. It's the level what you're the best student award or just passing. But everything is possible. It's just discipline and routine and boundaries.
And obviously, for example, if somebody like a finance professional wouldn't spend that much time on a certain finance topics and deliverables than the others. So it depends on the background as well. Thank you very much. Especially, I appreciate the honesty. We know that the Executive MBA is really not an easy program, and of course, like juggling work and life and responsibilities. It's certainly tough. So thank you very much. We received one question in the Q&A, whether how does that look for international students working during the duration of the program? So yeah, actually almost all of our Executive MBA students are employed during their studies. Some might take actually a short break, a sabbatical for a few months to concentrate on their Executive MBA studies. Or we had several people on maternity leave as well for a few months. So that is also a situation that can happen. But again, if you're an international, I mean, our students are, again, working professionals. So this is not for this program, if you would come to the residencies in Berlin, you would not need a student visa. Because you're not necessarily based, you don't have to be based in Germany for completing the Executive MBA. So yes, if you are looking for a move to Germany, then maybe the full-time MBA would be an easier starting point. Back to Julia and Mariem. What was the highlight if you think about certain?
Maybe
Yes.
I've seen a second question with the English.
Yeah, we can get back to it later too, but
Okay,
yeah, we
sorry.
can
Yeah.
go now as
Okay.
well, sure.
Okay. No. Yeah.
It's a provocative question, but
I can answer it.
it's a fair question. How
I
will
can
an
answer it
executive
if you want.
MBA in English language help me in Germany, knowing that for leadership positions, one need to be proficient in Germany? What is your view on that?
I can answer. So yeah, Germany is known for not speaking English that well. I'm pretty much aware of it. But for instance, for me, this isn't true, and I wouldn't say that that you can generalize. So my boss, so maybe I'll start with that. So I'm director at Mercedes-Benz, responsible for quality management. Mercedes-Benz Vans. Director means board level -2, and my boss doesn't speak German at all. So this means that we only speak English with him. He's an Italian, Francesco. And more and more, at least I'm talking now about bigger OEMs, we try to somehow diversify, and German is not the non plus ultra any longer. So it's officially the English as a company language, and it becomes more and more. So I'd say it doesn't really matter if you do an MBA in English or in German. For me, it was helpful, the content, to learn it in English, because I then could implement it directly and didn't have to translate into German. But I know it's not in every firm, and probably I'm lucky being in an English surrounding. But anyway, I'd say this was very helpful because you could exchange with German students, colleagues right afterwards, but also learn the content in English. That's my experience, Mariem. I don't know how it is for Siemens. Probably similar.
It's the same, like Siemens, even if you have rounds where we speak German, everyone speaks English. And for sure the leadership teams also. And at the end, when you're in the MBA, the important thing is that you apply your learnings. You're not gonna go back from the residency and start doing workshops about the concepts that you learn. It's not the point. The point is you apply them in situations. You can explain to people, you can take them step by step, and I think the words, you will find them in German also. So you can do it in Spanish. It's really not important. The important thing is you learn the concept and you know how to apply it in the correct situation. So it's really not a problem, as Julia said, to have it in English.
Yeah, I mean, Germany is getting more international. It's certainly attracting international professionals. It certainly depends on the location as well. It could depend on the industry itself as well. Especially Berlin is sometimes yeah, sometimes I feel like I couldn't even get by in German at certain places. It happened to me a few times. It's a very interesting city, I have to say. Okay, so if you think about the program and your experience, what were the biggest highlights for you? What was a really memorable experience? If you think about the 18 months, something that pops up immediately.
Yeah. I had two highlights. One was one class. I think it was elective, but I'm not sure. It was about sustainability in finance. I found this very, very interesting. So it was called Total Impact Performance. It was a way to measure what's the actual impact of companies on our environment. So this I found very, very interesting. This was one of my highlight courses. And the other one was our international field trip seminar in Mexico City, because it was like we visited companies and talked about all the things that we've learned. And for me, it was, I mean, I loved the country, the city itself, the people, but it was also very interesting to see other companies, other industries, and also how they adapted and implemented all the things that we've just learned. So that was my highlight.
Highlights, there are a lot of them. I'm going to mention two also as Julia. One of them is the thing that you learn I think the first hour of the MBA is the word "it depends." You ask a question and then the first answer is like, "it depends." And you hear this throughout the whole MBA. Like from the first hour, they make you understand there is no one truth. It depends on where you are, on the stakeholder, on the situation, there is no one truth in any situation. So it depends is a highlight, is a learning that stayed in my mind since the first hour. And the second highlight were the coaching sessions. I've never had it in the way and the form that we had it in the MBA. So we had a peer coaching, we had a study group coaching, and also with the coach. That was very valuable actually in different situations. So the input and so on, that was very good.
Thank you. We received a question again. After the course, if there was a complete change in your job profile or just more responsibility in the same area, what happened job-wise?
Yeah, that's why I was mentioning it earlier, although you haven't asked it. It was a bit strange. I got promoted, and actually, I cannot answer where if it was linked directly to the MBA, but it for sure contributed because I was suddenly and somehow discussing what Mariem explained earlier in a broader and more strategic way. So this helped definitely and paid in. So my job change was during the MBA program.
Same here, it's not during the MBA, but now I'm having this great experience that you have it rarely in corporate. I'm building a team from zero. And it's a very nice opportunity. It's not that I've never had a team before, but creating a team from zero, choosing the people, choosing the topics and so on, like all this responsibility and the trust that you get from the people, from your managers, because you start discussing in another way. They see that you evaluated somehow and they trust just what you do, just do it, and we're okay with it. So the answer is yes, I would say. I wouldn't link it directly, as Julia said, but because they would not say or tell you that directly, oh, you changed, you're transformed, but they will feel it.
I think I was referring to that during the slides in the beginning of the webinar, that there's what I hear from students and graduates is that there's lots of learning happening from the peers. So I was just wondering what kind of networking opportunities you had during these 18 months. If there were any networking outside of the classroom, how did those opportunities look like, and events?
You mean events or just like with the people in the class?
In general, like if you had enough time to connect with each other.
I would say yes.
Too much even.
So yeah, we're laughing both. So we went.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Julia. I didn't.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
One tip from my side: make sure that when you are in the residency, that you have no work to do in the evenings. It's very precious. These hours, go to eat and have some fun and talk to people and network, and you will not have them after that. Now the program is over, and the people you knew them, and the rest you don't. And if you work every evening, you don't get the chance to know these special and exceptional people you have with you in the MBA. So yes, we had a lot of possibility to network, even if the ESMT would organize some dinner like once every residency, but we had our dinners and our events also, like Oktoberfest in Berlin, and Mexico also. So we had a lot of that. And other than the other than ESMT, when you go to the GNAM, you will meet other students from other universities, and will have the chance to know more executive MBA students from other universities. And this is also very precious and important.
Which did you join GNAM back then?
I went to IE Business School in Madrid.
And what was the topic of the work?
It was holistic leadership from purpose to impact.
And Julia, did you also join GNAM?
Yeah, I was in Australia, Sydney, and the topic was sustainable business. Yeah, sustainability at business. I think that was the official name. It was really cool to also connect with others, and actually we're still in contact. And we went out literally every evening together to have dinner or go to a bar or so. So it was very, very good opportunity to connect with all the others within the modules. Berlin is a great city.
That's for sure. We're approaching the end of the webinar. If you have any questions, then please put it in the Q&A. Otherwise, I was just wondering what kind of suggestions you have for prospects and students. Is there anything that you would have maybe done differently now that you see anything that might be useful for our attendees?
Mm-hmm.
3 questions.
Recommendations. So maybe it goes into the same direction. Like, make sure that you really use the time and get rid of the work, because it somehow bosses explain it that you have to participate in this or that meeting, and it's so stressful within that week, and you also cannot really concentrate on the classes. So this would be one recommendation. Really make sure that the whole week is off. I had one module where it was very hectic, and I always had meetings before we started. But this is, as Mariem explained, very stressful, and such a pity that you're not able to use the breaks to connect with others. So this would be one recommendation. And invest time in choosing the right GNAM, because I mean, there's a list, and it makes perfectly sense that you like content-wise make sure that it's a topic that is of interest to you, because it's not only about the place, it's not only about the country, it's also about the topic itself. So a couple of colleagues came back a bit disappointed because they expected something else. So this would be my two tips for the module. Yeah.
For me, it's like, don't let your limiting beliefs makes you or hold you from doing an MBA because it's just in English or in German. It really doesn't matter. The content is important, but probably in all the schools you learn all the same content. So in ESMT and other business school is more or less the same thing, other than the schools like Yale where they have special stuff for doctors and so on. The important thing is the people and the network. So this is the biggest asset out of an MBA. At the end, you would talk to people. At the end, you form these friendships. At the end, I can call Julia if I have some kind of problem in strategy, inequality, whatever. So this is your biggest asset from the MBA, and that's what you should be looking for, and exactly do what Julia said. Get rid of work. Have like someone else doing work when you're not there. The other thing, enjoy every moment of it, because it's really limited time. Like when the day between you start and you end, it goes like very like that. It's gonna be intense, at least from September to April. It's really intense, but then the intensity goes down. But even from September to April, you will see this is the time where this class of this group of individuals, they become like a group of friends and classmates, because we're all in the same trouble, and you need to enjoy this too. So yeah, you will be stressed, but enjoy every moment of it. That's very important.
Maybe it was just one last question, because you mentioned Mexico several times. What happened in Mexico?
Nothing.
This is the International Field Seminar, which is one module during the 18 months. And the destination partially depends on students. And there were several weeks already happening all over the world, Tokyo, Europe, Brazil, Argentina, and now Mexico. So what exactly happened in Mexico?
So what happened in Mexico stays, no, just kidding.
In Mexico.
No, just kidding. So it was very, and I explained it a bit earlier, it was very, very, at least interesting for me to see all these different industries. So we had, like, my favorite company visit was with Syngenta. That's a company that is focusing on plant protection. So it was so interesting because they had a very purposeful approach how to make sure that the whole world is fed. So it was very, very interesting, very good, intense discussions with many different opinions. And so you had chance to see the things that you've learned implemented in companies, and you were also able to discuss with high-level management from these firms how they do, for instance, the strategy, how they implement, how they make sure that they have progress in the financials. So it was very, very interesting. And of course, the city, we've been to Mexico City, it's amazing, right? So the people super friendly. So we had a very good time together, and it was also one of our last modules. So we were super close and had a very good time together. Yeah.
Nothing to add to that. She explained it really good.
Yeah, I'm turning to the attendees again. If there are any questions, just feel free to put it in the chat. Otherwise, we would slowly close the event. Thank you very much for joining. If you can maybe make it to Berlin, the next in-person open house is happening on the 21st of June. Then we have a summer break, and the one after is going to be in September, and then one in November. So basically almost every 2-3 months we have an event on campus as well. Additionally, we have webinars scheduled from time to time. So please follow us and check these events in our newsletter and on the website. You will find lots of information, additional info, interviews with graduates and students on our YouTube channel. That is certainly a very good source for additional information. And again, if you would need any additional info, feel free to reach out to admissions@esmt.org. Thank you very much, Julia and Mariem, to join me today. I think it was a very interesting session, lots of information, lots of learnings in there. And I wish good luck for the application to the attendees. Again, if you have questions, feel free to reach out. And thank you for your time, Mariem, Julia, and hope to see you again very soon, sometime on campus in person. And the attendees as well.
Thank you for the invitation, for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, and hit me up, or write me on LinkedIn, or write us on LinkedIn if any other question comes up later on. Happy to help and to answer. So thanks for joining. Bye-bye.
Thanks for the offer. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.